Sean Strickland. We need to talk about Sean Strickland. One of the biggest underdogs I've ever seen in a championship fight in the UFC. I've only been watching for about 3 years, however, so I don't know the perfect statistics for that, but he must have been one of the top underdogs. And last night I witnessed it at about 5:30 in the morning, because I'm English of course, and I think it was in Australia, so I had to stay up very, very late, as always, being a European MMA fan. And I witnessed something insane. Sean Strickland, of all people, managed to outstrike one of the greatest MMA strikers I've ever seen in Israel Adesanya, and he did it comfortably. His defence was impeccable. His boxing, I've never seen him box that fluidly and that precise. And he was getting out of the way of strikes. He was evading the leg kicks. I think he only got hit in the head like 3 times. It was unreal. And I really didn't think he had it in him. He's clearly an insanely good fighter. Much better than I expected, because I'd obviously seen him in his last 3 fights, I think, and he was always solid but never championship level. But if you look at the striking statistics from the fight here, it is unreal. Adesanya threw more strikes than Sean Strickland. They were mainly to the legs, to be honest, and Sean checked quite a lot of those. He didn't really land any head strikes except maybe 3 or 4, and Sean made him miss constantly. He was evading shots. He was using this weird Philly shell technique, but it wasn't quite the Floyd Mayweather type Philly shell. It was his own kind of unique, more close-knit Philly shell, and it was some of the best striking defence I've seen in the UFC. The striking in the UFC in recent years has really, really improved, and I've only been a fan for about 3-4 years, and I've noticed the level of ability regarding striking has definitely increased. And Adesanya there, it says he's landing at 34.7% strike accuracy, whereas Strickland's about 52%. I never thought I'd see the day where Adesanya was outstruck and outboxed, and just in every aspect, and even knocked down. And he took a hell of a right hand. I know Strickland's not known for massive punch power, but it was phenomenal. It was really good, perfect on the button. And Adesanya is a true champion, clearly, because he really did well to survive. I don't think he was massively hurt. I think it was obviously knocked him down, so he was hurt to a certain extent, but he was still with it. He was still there, and that's the sign that Adesanya, I think, still got quite a few fights left at the top, and I think he'll come back, to be honest. But what a story, Sean Strickland, eh? And especially knowing about Sean Strickland's backstory, because yes, he's a very abrasive character, and he says some dumb things and some very outrageous things which he shouldn't be saying, and some things which are highly questionable and just wrong and highly offensive. But if you look into his backstory, it's out there. He's talked about it. I think he talked about it on Joe Rogan as well, and told some stories from his childhood. He really did start life very, very harshly, in a very harsh environment with obviously his family. And I just love the success story of seeing someone who didn't have a lot when they were young and was in a very, very hostile environment, and they have made the most out of their life, rised above all the adversity they have faced, and have achieved something. And stories like that are incredibly humbling and just amazing to read up on and to see as it happened. And I think it helped that no one thought Strickland was going to win. Really, really not. I didn't. So as a success story, it's a very good one. And there's been so many success stories in the UFC, ranging from people like Francis Ngannou. That's probably the one that sticks in my head the most, because he was the poorest you could possibly be, working in sand mines from a young age, and he rose to the highest highs, became UFC heavyweight champion of the world. Obviously, Francis Ngannou's a much nicer person than Sean Strickland, and a lot easier to support and follow, because Sean Strickland is stupid. No, he's not. He just says some stupid things occasionally. But I guess he's honest, and he's got a fan base himself. Whilst I'm not a fan of his, I appreciate the story of coming from nothing, and it can be relatable to quite a lot of people. Where we go from here, however, is obviously, I think, rematch with Adesanya, because Adesanya's middleweight royalty. He deserves it. He deserves at least a shot back at his title. And I think Adesanya's great at adapting to things and coming back stronger. He had to do it with Pereira, and obviously after he lost against Jan Blachowicz. And I can see him winning it again. He'll have to make a lot of adjustments, because it was easy for Sean Strickland. I've never seen a fight that easy against Adesanya. Even Blachowicz, who wrestled him. That's what's amazing, actually. Sean Strickland, who I think has quite good grappling, didn't even think to take Adesanya down and still outstruck him. So he was obviously right in thinking that, but it is insane with the whole situation, really. But fair enough, you know, Strickland's done amazingly well, and he's the new middleweight champion. For however long that may be, however, because I think Adesanya comes back, wins the belt, but I've been wrong about this. I thought Adesanya was going to steam through him, and I was really, really wrong. And it's been a wake-up call for a lot of MMA fans. This is why we love the sport, because anything can happen. This is the end of this small little video. I really like doing this type of content. It's very, very lazily made, and I'm going to have to try and figure out a way I can make it more appealing and more inviting. But I just like talking about the sport. I know very limited amounts of knowledge on the sport, and I'm still a very new fan, really, but I have an opinion about it, and I love sharing that opinion to whoever hears it. We can disagree. I love to talk about fighters and fights and all different things within MMA and the UFC in particular, so I definitely want to do more of these kind of videos in the future, and maybe try and figure out how to get some videos in of the actual fight, and not just have it to where I get lazily put pictures. But this is the first one of these videos I'm doing. I've obviously done prediction videos, but they weren't in this format. I've just spoken without a script, just talked about the fight, how I saw it, and just waffled pretty much. I'm a very good waffler, if you couldn't tell. So let me know what you think about this kind of video and how I can improve it. Obviously adding in videos and more things, more unique vibes in the video in the future. But if you enjoyed, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. I prefer likes though, obviously. And I'm hoping to see you in the next one, whenever I may upload the next one, because I'm terrible at uploading. See ya.